Zach Walker.
He's big. He's beautiful. He's low on testosterone. This is Zach Walker, your big, beautiful, bearded host here on Hometown Heartbeat. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I feel terrible this morning, just to let everybody know. No, it's not the Rona. Yes, it's allergies. But I feel like I've been run over by a freight train. When I walked in, Dallas goes, wow, you're really not feeling it this morning, are you? And I was like, is it that obvious? Like, holy crap. So you're hearing me fake it hard today, boys. We're faking it hard. Connor, producer Connor, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. How you doing?
Man, I'm pretty fired up, because if you're not, your wood's wet,
That's right. It says it every day.
Every single day. We might re-record that here pretty soon. That was good for, that was good for the introductory, intro. Introductory intro?
Yeah, totally.
That feels weird. Connor's he's got energy this morning. I don't know what it was. Maybe he got a cup of coffee in him earlier than normal or what, but we just had a rousing round of applause from Connor here in the studio as he walked out of the building. He came in. I said, Connor, what's up, buddy? He goes, nothing, just got to tilt the camera. And I was like, oh, man, that seems like a pretty important task. And he comes in, he executes like an absolute stud, and then runs out of here like a stallion clapping as he goes. It was fantastic. So, DJ Dallas, what's up, buddy?
Not much.
You also have energy today.
I think I'm starting to get into the flow of things a little bit more. Yeah,
so
we're
you think over or under 2 more times that you sleep through the show?
Under, because I feel like I can't do it again. There won't be a chance. There won't be a chance to do it 2 more times.
Oh, come on, man. We are a graceful show here at Hometown Heartbeat. For the love of God, it is all about low expectations that we seem to be able to exceed. Thank God for that. So I opened up the show with a statement that probably caught you quite odd: low on testosterone. So I got a personal story here. We've talked kind of about like my weight. Before I went to the beach, I wanted to try to lose some weight, right? So that's because look, the dad bod's cool and all, but like I took it to the extreme, and I was like 2 dads in 1 bod, and it just I felt a little large, and my knees started screaming at me. You ever seen a horse with a big old man on top of it, and the horse his knees just look like it? That's how my knees felt. My back was hurting, and I went to the doctor, and he was just like, overall, you probably just need to go on. And he was like, he played the card too. He was like, weren't you an athlete? I'm like, wasn't I an athlete? Please. You ought to see me play some slow pitch, baby. I still got all kinds of athlete in me. And then I started working out, and my first workout, when you're this big, and I'm not meaning that in a good way, you have to start with like high intensity interval training. You can't just like. So what did I do? I got my pre-workout, my cutoff shirt. I went up into the gym and I lifted heavy, like I'm talking about just going there, throw weights around, because I'm still strong. I might be fat, but I'm still strong. And I didn't that was week 1, because for the rest of the week, couldn't move. Literally could not move. I was your basic fraternity boy in the gym. Daddy money fraternity kid with the shaker bottle of the pre-workout that I just got at the GNC store. And yeah, bro, let me get my lift on, bro. Beach muscles. That was me. It was terrible. It was awful. And I'm super embarrassed that I let that happen. So for those of you that saw me at Workout Anytime, I sincerely apologize to you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So after that, we jump into this high-intensity interval train. Dallas, do you know what that is?
Yeah, like doing a lot, but in a short period of time, right? It's like you're spacing yourself out a little bit.
Okay. Probably not the best description I've ever heard,
No.
but I can.
I was stumbling over my words.
It's okay. We do that often here. English is hard. But no, it's so basically 30-40 minute workout doing burpees and jumping jacks and push-ups and sit-ups, and it's high intensity interval training, literally what it says. And so I did that for 30 consecutive days. I started intermittent fasting. You guys saw, I never ate anything in here. It was all coffee, black coffee, no sugar, water all day. I used to drink like a gallon of sweet tea every day or 2 days at least, cut that completely out. And so for 30 days, I radically transformed my lifestyle. I'm talking about complete polar opposite 180 of what it was before. And mind you, it was awful. I'm talking about like midnight, gallon ice cream. Got it. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, give me that ice cream. And so for me to go 30 days and not lose a single pound, I was like, well, that doesn't feel right. So I called my doctor, the same doctor that said, I thought you were an athlete. He said, you need to come see me. That doesn't feel right. We need to do blood work. We got to figure out what's going on with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. I just thought it because I was old, I thought when you get a little older, used to, I could look at the weights and I'd get in shape. Like I could just look at them, imagine myself working out, and I would lose weight. It's unbelievable. My wife hated it. Before we got married, like literally dropped 20 pounds in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's like, gone. Didn't work this time. So I go to the doctor. Blood test. By the way, terrified of needles. Like, Dallas, when I say terrified, I mean, I once looked at my father, and he said, son, it's going to be okay. And through tears, I said, but they're not going to rip your arm off. Like, I am terrified of needles. They took 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 vials of blood. I'm talking about them big jokers, too. You give them blood, Dallas? Are you even old enough to give blood?
Yeah. I've had blood work done once, I think.
Oh, I forgot. There's no age on having blood work done. I'm an idiot. And so, like the big vials, not the little ones. Like they got the little ones that look like those little fake bubblegum cigar things for babies. Like they're that size. And then you got like you gave me a crazy look.
Bubblegum cigar for babies.
Yeah. So have you never seen those? Like if it's a boy, you get a blue one. If it's a girl, you get a pink one. It's a bubblegum cigar for people who don't smoke. I was Church of Christ, man. We couldn't do anything else. Bubblegum, baby. Here he goes, typing it in. Bubble gum cigar. It's a boy. And spelled it wrong. Wait for it. There's nothing better than watching video or looking at images on the radio. You know what? With no audio, it's fantastic. All right, so he's pulled up a picture. Connor, if you want to throw a picture up, it's the... honestly, like the fact you don't know that, but that's like the size, right, of one of the small vials. I'm glad we went off on this tangent. Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, let's finish. We're already here now. We've taken a hard ride.
Small vial, I guess, because mine kind of looked like that. You're right.
Yeah, so I have not those, the big ones. It was like 2 of those, and 4 of them. Here we go. Big vial of. This is dangerous. Okay, so none of those sizes. So he's looked up the vials of. He's trying to understand the magnitude of the amount of blood I gave. I don't know why we've stopped on this point. It's not that important. But that's again, we make a living off low expectations. So anyways, I end up giving 4 vials of this stuff. And everybody's got their masks on, and we're all like, COVID responsible and all that. Except for I didn't see the nurse change her gloves, but then again, what matters? It doesn't really matter. At least I didn't get the same needle somebody else got, That's a joke, by the way. My doctor.
Is it a joke?
Yeah, that would never happen. Not in modern medicine.
Well, I mean, I'm saying I would hope it's a joke.
The needle thing or the glove thing?
The needle thing.
Yeah, the needle thing's obviously a joke. Glove thing, not so much a joke. I wish it was. So anyways, I take my test, and then that was on like Friday before we go to the beach. So obviously nothing happens, and he's like, well, I'll give you a call on Monday. And I'm like, sweet. So Monday shows up, nothing. Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, nothing. I looked at my mom, and I'm like, hey, Mom, you think no news is good news? Or she's like, I don't know, son. Maybe something's wrong. Maybe it's a tumor. And I said, it's not a tumor. Dallas and Connor didn't get that. I'm really upset that I
got that.
What's it from?
Arnold.
But what's it from?
He actually says
Connor,
that?
do you know what that is from?
Negatory.
The Terminator.
No, Kindergarten Cop. It's one of his greatest films of all times.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Connor, have you ever heard of the Kindergarten Cop?
Heard of it, yeah.
Hey! All right, well, we're going to have class movie day and all sit down and watch Kindergarten Cop together. But anyways, golly, this story is going to end up taking 2 segments. This story is going to take – my testosterone and blood draw story is going to take 2 complete segments, and I'm entirely okay with that. This segment has been brought to you by Hootenanny Barbecue. That's Hootenanny Barbecue, the only thing God ever made perfect. is his barbecue. Give Malin Jones a call. Look him up on Facebook, Hootenanny Barbecue. Shout out to Malin. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat.
bearded host Zach Walker, and I'm here with producer Connor, DJ Dallas, watching Shark Week and Korean baseball here in the studio. It's quite an eclectic mix. We've got Fox News going, we've got Shark Week going, and we've got Korean baseball going. And I have to say, out of all three of them, it's hard to pick between the Doosan Bears and Shark Week. You know what? Those little Koreans can just sling that little ball all over the place. You know what?
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
It is certainly that. It's a really high level of high school baseball, and
it's crazy that you say that because there was just like a nice little error made there. And
well, I mean, I do know a little bit about baseball. I did play literally my entire life. I still play, in fact. I think we've talked about that on the air, haven't we? About I walked in here, or was that on the Dale show when I was guest hosting for Dale? I play men's baseball, and I went out the other night and pitched. Mm-hmm. And I threw 140 pitches for the Huntsville Cubs, and I literally couldn't move. But the remedy to that is probably testosterone. Let me finish that story because Dallas took us hard left. Maybe I took us hard left, actually. It could have been me. Did I do it, or did you do it?
I mean, I started Googling something.
It was the cigar. It was the baby cigar.
Yeah.
Okay. I keep forgetting that I work with children, and not in a bad way. I mean, I couldn't do any of this without Connor and Dallas, but they're just so young. Just so young. All right. So, anyways, let me finish this story so it doesn't take 3 segments because people are like, okay, enough. Talk about politics. And I'm over here just trying like heck to avoid it, but that's neither here nor there. So, essentially, when my doctor called me, he said, man, your blood work looks really good. I'm sorry. I just caught a headline up there that we need to talk about. Trump denies Minnesota governor's request for aid after riots. Freaking ruthless. Anyway, so I gotta land the plane. Somebody needs to call right now and say, land the plane, Zach. Land the plane. Because I make fun of everyone else for doing it, and here I am flying aimlessly through the air.
Do you want me to land it for you?
No, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So, doctor says, hey, man, were you drinking like gallons of water at a time? And I'm like, no. He's like, specifically right before the test? Like, did you? I think he maybe thought like, I don't know, maybe like people will intentionally try to get testosterone. I've taken testosterone that maybe wasn't prescribed by a doctor, maybe, hypothetically, once in a different life. And, I mean, it's used by bodybuilders. So there are some like, advantages to getting it. And so I was like, no, doc, I promise. And so he was like, I've literally never seen anything like this. Like, you're 33 years old and there's none. To which my mom said, so you're basically a woman? And I was like, thanks, Mom. At least that's where I get it from, right? Now you understand a little bit more about why I'm so ruthless. But anyways, I'm kidding, Mom. I love you. She's probably listening, or definitely will at some point today, and I'll get a phone call for that one. But no, it's just interesting because now that I know that I have it, this low testosterone, like I've been going back and like reading through some symptoms and like, man, it makes a lot of sense. And I know for the radio, people that listen to me on the radio, they're probably like, well, this guy doesn't have an energy problem at all. Well, it's really easy to perform, right? I mean, I feel terrible this morning, but when the lights come on, they start selling popcorn, your boy's going to show up and play ball. And so I've been super tired and lethargic and all kinds of stuff. And I couldn't figure out why. And so I'm really interested to see how this works out for me because it does make a lot of sense. But I wanted to bring it up because there's a lot of men out there probably that are dealing with some of the things that I'm dealing with. And just, I mean, there are some of the main effects that I didn't feel. Like I didn't get some of the symptoms that everybody says you get with low testosterone. And so for me, it was like I missed the big warnings, the quote unquote big warning sign. As I'm talking about this, I'm looking at Dallas and he's in La La Land because he's 18 and has plenty of testosterone. But for the listeners of this show, the demographic is that of men that are probably dealing with some of this stuff or have. And so I officially started my TRT yesterday. Now that's where things get fun. And TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy. It's a big 1.5 inch long needle that goes in your muscle. And remember that conversation I had about how terrified I was of needles? So yesterday, first shot, game time. It's game time. And I'm actually very excited about this, right? Because it could be the answer to my problems. My wife she walks in and like I'm sitting there and I'm holding this needle and I'm like staring at my leg and looking up at her. She was about to go get dinner. She goes, do I need to stay here and make sure you're okay? Did you hear me, Dallas? My wife had to look at me as I sat there and said, do I need to stay here just to make sure you're okay after you give yourself that shot? I'm like, what? Yeah, maybe. That'd probably be a good idea because I'm terrified of this thing. And so, anyways, I say all that to say that I have started this, and it's all about being real, right? I mean, this whole what we do on this show is probably not accepted by most radio people because it's not specific. Like they say, what do you talk about? It's a show about everything. It's a show about nothing. I mean, it's politics on one day. It's personal. It's whatever. And so I just wanted to be real about things because, honestly, I'm sure that someone who's listening right now is saying, wait a minute, I'm tired all the freaking time. I have no energy. Muscle mass, gaining weight is a sign of testosterone loss. And so Dr. Wyrick Decatur is the best doctor I've ever had in my entire life. He's become my friend. He's honest and I'm just thankful that I could be walking through it with him for sure, because it is a little bit weird, feeling like things aren't normal. But anyway, so we'll see. That started. We kicked that joker off yesterday with an inch and a half long 22 gauge needle straight to the thigh.
How often do you have to give yourself the shot?
Every 2 weeks, which feels a little. I'd rather it be once a week if I'm being honest with you. But that's the doctor's orders, and so that's what we'll do. But yeah, so anyways, that kind of sums up my Monday. That and did a little fishing yesterday. Flipped a few frogs around. I've become obsessed with bass fishing. You're a bass fish, Dallas?
No.
It's over with. We're going after the show. I got the rods in the truck. I'm gonna show you how to bass fish. I'm just kidding. You can't throw a bait caster. You'll bird's nest the heck out of it. If anybody is listening to this show that has a bass boat and really wants to take someone out, I would love to go. I'll bring drones and GoPros and we can make a sweet video and you can be on the radio. I will barter that for bass fishing. It's something that we never did. We always bow fished. You're a bow fish, Dallas?
No.
Have you ever been outside your house, Dallas? Into the woods?
I've fished before.
Into the outdoors?
Yes.
Do you have a hunting license or fishing license?
I don't have no.
Oh, sweet Maria.
Am I old enough for a hunting license?
Yes. My 4-year-old has a hunting license. Are you serious? Connor, do you have a hunting or fishing license?
I do not.
Man. Do you want one?
Not really.
Okay, well, look, here's the thing. You can't say that I'm surrounded by people that are just like me, right? So that's good. We've got diversity on the show, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, so yeah, I've been bass fishing. I've been fishing the heck out of some bass. It's really hard, but it's also really fun. And so, what?
I don't really understand, the hype behind fishing.
What do you mean?
Why is that fun? I don't know.
But to me, it's all about understanding and learning. Those animals are incredible. It's like deer hunting. Deer are the smartest animals I've ever encountered. And to outsmart them, killing them is not even my thing. I hunt them. I enjoy hunting them. Now, I will harvest meat once or twice a year, but bass fishing is very much the same thing. It's a hobby. Why do people play golf? It's the dumbest thing in the world. I love golf. I'm playing in a tournament on Thursday. But you're going to go spend 4 hours knocking a ball around a golf course being frustrated as heck. So it's just a hobby. It's a hobby I very much enjoy. You've been listening to Hometown Heartbeat here on WVNN. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, here with producer Connor and DJ Dallas. Check us out, thehometownheartbeat.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker. You have heard probably too much information about my life this morning as we've talked through the reality that is being a 33-year-old male, apparently. If you are struggling with low testosterone, we understand. I'm just kidding. That's my PSA. We do that a lot here in the biz. So we are an hour and 23 minutes and some change away from the polls opening here in Alabama. What a race. What a race. Sessions or Tuberville? The old ball coach or the Swamp Gator? Is that right? Gator? I was trying to think about it. I was trying to tie the SEC in somehow. I'll tell you my take on this, honestly. I got a message yesterday from one of our listeners. It was like, by the way, very nice fella, very encouraging message. But was like, by the way, vote Sessions. And I'm like, I think I'm good. And I'll tell you why. I don't know who's going to be better, personally. And quite frankly, I've not studied either of them that much. I have interviewed Tommy Tuberville. He was very nice. I think that he truly, here's my thing. I think Tommy Tuberville truly feels called by God to serve, to public service. Jeff Sessions, on the other hand, is a career politician who's been embroiled and embattled in multiple scuttles and scuffs with the president. Now, to be fair, Sessions is still complimentary of Trump even after their scuffle. So I don't want to take anything away from Mr. Sessions there. But click on that the hill right there. Yeah. And so I don't want to take away from Mr. Sessions at all, because certainly he's had a distinguished career of service. But I feel like personally, my thing is, I don't want somebody who has had a distinguished career of political service, because typically with that you get, I wish we talk about it all the time. Term limits, right? If we could do that and we could get new people in there on a regular basis. So for me, it's easy. Tommy Tuberville is someone who I believe is not a career. Oh, I know he's not a career politician, right? That's obvious. And so that's where I landed on this whole thing. And that's about as deep as my politics get. If you want deeper politics, listen to Dale's show. But that's kind of where I land on it. What are your thoughts there, Dallas? I know you were just talking about, man, I gotta find my polling place, gotta figure out where I'm voting. So I know you're excited to be involved in the democratic process here. So what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna vote for Sessions.
Why?
I grew up in a house where my mom's been a Sessions supporter for a long time. My guy was Bradley Byrne. I was gonna vote Byrne. I think Sessions has done a lot for the state. I mean, he's been there for a long time. I feel like that's gonna come regardless. But I think Sessions is gonna be my guy today.
Because your mom likes him?
Yeah. That's not the only reason, though. I like Sessions.
Why? What policies do you like? What decisions has he made? How has he voted on? What's his voting record? Now, mind you, I couldn't answer the same question. So I'm not if you asked me the same question about Tuberville, you know what I'd say? He doesn't have one because he's not a politician. This isn't meant to call you out or but truly, our job here on this radio show is to educate people, right?
Sure.
So we're educating them right now on some of the questions you should ask yourself and ask others when you're talking through this stuff, because these are all questions that would be good to answer, right?
Well, his voting record is Republic. He votes conservative. Almost, he doesn't stray too far away from conservative ideas. So I feel like he's going to be consistently conservative.
I don't disagree with that. I would say that's a fair assessment.
So I mean, and yeah, he had his whole thing with Trump, but I don't know. I like Sessions a lot, and he was I don't know. He's been in high office, Attorney General there for a while.
Is that a good thing?
Not necessarily, especially with how it ended.
Is he the swamp?
I don't think he's the swamp.
I think he's exactly what the president means when he says the swamp. People that make a I saw this the other day. It's the Americans don't need the tax returns of a billionaire who gave up all of that to serve public office. We need the tax records of all these congressmen and senators that came from nothing and in years of public service with a fixed income. Now, granted, it's a decent income, but still, that are now worth millions. For instance, the Clintons. Like, go chart their income and chart their pattern of growth financially, and tell me how they've ended up where they've ended up. I'll wait.
Yeah, you have a point.
Mother Russia.
Jeff Sessions has a pretty high net worth here. This is as of 2016.
Yeah, but in all fairness, he's also an attorney. Correct? He was an attorney. Like, he was a practicing attorney prior to Connor knows. Connor, was Jeff Sessions an attorney?
Yeah, but he hasn't been in decades.
Right, but at some point, he was a practicing attorney that probably made pretty good scratch, huh? I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm not trying to... Look, again, this is all about opinion. I don't know. What is your take, Connor, on the runoff today?
I'll be honest. I'm not satisfied with either candidate.
I think that's probably the most fair assessment, to be honest with you, because you've got inexperience in one hand and swamp in the other.
Yeah, I think Sessions. There's definitely parts of his record that I find myself at odds with personally. And Tuberville, I don't think that he has much substance aside from I like the president and I'm a conservative. Like, it's like, I just don't think there's much to him. I mean, he might be a fine guy. I just don't know that I don't know that senator is the right fit for
the old ball coach.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really think that the party could have done better.
Oh, well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, look, for the love of God, we got Dougie Fresh Jones because we threw out Roy Moore.
I was about to say, we won't have Roy Moore at least.
We have done a terrible job.
We could have done worse, too, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Roy Moore with his shirt off riding a horse, you know. I mean, that's image you can't get out of the back of your eyes. But, yeah, I'm thank you, Connor, for chiming in on the Connor doesn't do a ton of the overtly political stuff because he's still working through it. Connor's very introspective and intellectual, and so I try not to put him on the spot too much when it comes to the hardcore politics stuff like this. But I appreciate his insight as always because he is the smartest guy in every room he walks into. And so, today's a big day. Go vote. Go vote however you want to vote. Go vote for whoever you want to vote for.
I will say this as well. I met Tuberville not too long ago, and he was a nice guy. He was nice enough to take a picture with me and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, he came in and interviewed with us when we the first podcast / live stream we ever started, way back. This would have been literally right after he announced, so a year and a half ago. He came. I got a call from one of my buddies who runs his political action committee. He said, "Hey man, do you want to interview Tubby on your live stream?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that'd be great." At the time, he had to interview at 6 a.m., which I thought was early.
Yeah.
Oh, how I longed for those days. But no, he was a very nice man. He was. We talked very little politics because, again, not really my expertise. I'm more of an opinion guy. I'm just, I just like to fly around with emotional opinions and make people laugh.
I think for most people in Alabama, as long as we beat Doug Jones, they don't care.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there.
And that's pretty much where I'm at, too.
Dougie Fresh Jones has no shot, and he knows it. So, anyways, that is today, the runoff election today between Tommy Tuberville and Jeff Sessions. Make sure you get out and vote. The polls will open in an hour and 15 minutes. I will be voting on the way home. And then I probably am going to go back to bed. So, you've listened to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the last segment of the 5 o'clock hour, also known as the turning point, hump day, whatever, hump hour, whatever you want to call it, as we transition into the 6 o'clock hour, which is the best hour in morning radio.
Today's Tuesday.
I know.
Oh
my gosh. For the love of all that is good and holy. So we're having some camera issues. I don't know if Connor, did my fix not work?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. I'm about tired of these GoPros, let me tell you. I'm ready to send them on down the river. I guess they work great for extreme sports, not so much for a radio broadcast. If you want to jump in on the live stream, you can do so at thehometownheartbeat.com. Click on Watch Live there at the top, or go on Facebook or YouTube to The Hometown Heartbeat or Hometown Heartbeat with Zach Walker, and there you go. If you are interested in listening to the show, but you don't want to wake up at 5 a.m., let's be honest, you probably don't, and I get it. Just go to thehometownheartbeat.com, click on podcast there at the top. There is an archived, commercial-free version that goes out every single day, organized by chapter. Thank you, Connor. And we now have that capability. So you can literally, if somebody says, "Hey, man, did you hear that idiot on the radio? He said something," and well, I don't know, it was like 5:30 or so, 5:40. You could be like, "Oh, okay," and then you skip to that segment and listen to us that way. So we are trying our best to improve every minute of every day. And if you're interested in advertising, we certainly need to talk to you as well. So let's jump into some of these stories here. Oh man, I've had so much fun this morning. I don't really want to go down this hole, but here we go. Eldon Hopkins, 58 years old, has cerebral palsy. On the evening of May 31st, he drove to get dinner and flowers and ended up in the middle of a protest in downtown Columbus, Ohio. I was at the intersection. I got the green light. I was trying to toot my horn, thinking, "Hey, guys, look at the light." He was blocked, and the video of the incident shows he tried backing up his car and hit a person on a bike with the rear bumper. They then started beating on his car. They surrounded his car. They threw the bicycle on his windshield. He thought that he was going to get killed. I mean, his car is absolutely destroyed, guys. But this is the all-loving, peaceful left that wants you to think that they're going to kumbaya their way into, into better politics, better policy, because obviously, everybody on the right is filled with hate and bigotry and all that stuff. And so this is just one of those things for me. Like, I want to be fair on both sides. Did the rioters know that he had cerebral palsy when they started beating the heck out of his car? Probably not. Did they care? No. Would it have stopped him? I'd like to think so, but I'd say probably not. If you have something to say, 1-866-494-WVNN, 1-866-494-WVNN. Give us a call and let's talk about this, because this is lunacy. I mean, we are empowering a generation of thugs and criminals is what we're doing. Now, understand what I just said. We're empowering a generation of thugs and criminals. Hear what I didn't say. All the protesters are thugs and criminals. That's not what I said. What I did say was we're empowering. So what we're doing is we're creating a situation where those who wish to be thugs and criminals can do so much easier. There are some protesters that absolutely have the interest of Black Lives Matter and the protest at heart, and with those, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and we'll talk about racism in this country. We'll talk about everything that needs to be talked about. But for the rest of you, you're a thug and a criminal. That's all there is to that. We got another noose in the news. We got noose news. Someone left a noose in this woman's car with a hate-filled note against Black Lives Matter. Regina Simpson posted photos of a rope tied into a noose and the note on a Facebook post. She said the items were discovered in her car on Sunday morning. My husband woke me up to say What was in my car? We're blown back by this. Simon identifies as Mexican and white. Her husband is black. So is she Mexican and white, or does she just identify as Mexican and white? I'm incredibly confused by that. What does that mean? What does it mean when she identifies? I didn't think you could, like, I know you can identify as a different sex, but can I identify as Italian if I want to eat pasta? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So what if, like, I want to identify with someone who is wealthy? Does that make me wealthy? Like, I'm so confused by this. So I identify as, like, I thought we stopped playing make-believe and pretend back in the day. Because what they're saying is I'm make-believe that I'm Mexican. Now, she may very well be. This is just the way this article's phrased. But, golly, that's such a dangerous statement. You could just say, I identify as fill in the blank, and we have to So, just out of curiosity, if I identified as black, would that play well?
I don't think so.
You know why? Because I'm white. This is
that
absurdity.
plays into it.
This is absurdity. She says, quote, to know that a neighbor holds hate for me and my family truly hurts, but I do have a response planned, comma, best believe that. That's a quote. That is an actual quote written in this article. To know that a neighbor holds hate for me and my family truly hurts, but I do have a response plan. Best believe that. This is an actual national news story. Oh, man. Okay, I got a couple questions. For you here. If you want to leave a note in my truck, you're going to have to break a window.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
If you want to leave a note in my wife's truck, you're going to break a window. If you want to do just about anything to my truck, you're going to have to break a window. There's a camera right outside by my truck. By the way, cameras all over my house. For those of you that would consider putting a noose in my truck, I will find you, and I have something planned. Best believe that. But this smells to me. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but the fact that she, quote, identifies as a minority, is she or is she not a minority? First of all, you cannot change your ethnicity.
Is that not racist?
It probably is. Dude, I have lost track of what's racist and not. I've apparently just being white makes you racist nowadays. I don't know. It's a crazy, crazy world out there, but it's not sincere, and that's the problem with all this stuff. Is none of this is sincere. None of this is rooted in sincerity. It's all based in make believe, and honestly, it's a freaking joke. I mean, look, if someone put a noose in this woman's car, shame on you. Shame on you. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Okay? And you're the nut that we need to cull, okay? Because groups have to cull their own nuts. And so if we've got people running around throwing nooses in somebody's unlocked car, we got to change that. But to this identifying as this woman that has something planned, best believe that. Lock your car. Just lock your car and all this goes away. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN, thehometownheartbeat.com, thehometownheartbeat.com. We'll be right back. in with producer Connor and DJ Dallas. I like that. I do like that name.
Is it cooler than producer Connor though? I don't think so.
I think it's equally as cool.
You have alliteration, so that's like that makes it.
I do have an alliteration.
Do you know?
Pretty cool.
Do you know what alliteration is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It starts with the first letter, multiple like D and D in my name. Makes it.
Is that true, Connor?
Yeah, alliteration. Same vowel or consonant sound at the beginning of consecutive words.
His description might have been better than mine.
Oh man. Oh gosh. We need to do. Here's what we need to do. We need to do a like a trivia style segment on here and see like. Can Dallas beat Connor ever? Like it'll be like an ongoing thing. Like I'll bring a trivia question in here once a day or twice a day, and we'll just have a. Does Dallas have it in him to beat Connor? We got to come up with a good name for that. Cole Connor? No. Like how we got to come up with a cool segment name. But Connor, what say you about the segment idea?
I think Dallas could. I think he could take me on. I'd be willing to put up that fight.
I bet you would. That's.
Oh, okay. All right.
Luther, my tech buddy, texted me from church saying, "Man, maybe you need to upgrade your GoPros to Marshalls." Luther, you're not wrong. If only I had that church money. I'm kidding. Luther's awesome. Luther's he is the man that showed up the day that before we went live on the show and saved our tails when we couldn't get anything to work on the cameras. He's the reason we have cameras. So shout out to Luther. So let's get back in the news a little bit with an upbeat story about a woman, Mary Daniel of Jacksonville, Florida. Before COVID-19 hit, she visited her husband, Steve, every day at Rose Castle at Deerwood, a memory care facility where he is a resident. Months into the state's lockdown prohibiting their visits, Mary noticed Steve's health was declining due to his isolation. I know this is hard for people to understand, but people truly need human interaction with one another. It is a necessity, a physical necessity. And so because the facility would not allow visitors, Mary came up with a solution. She's now an employee. Pretty cool. She went 114 days without seeing her husband. We did 2 visits through the window, but they're very, very difficult. He cried at both of them. So it was a difficult decision that I really made, that this wasn't in his best interest. Steve has early onset Alzheimer's. Mary became concerned about the isolation that was taking a toll on his health because they couldn't see each other. They've been married for 24 years. He's been isolated, Mary said, so this has been really, really difficult. He's lost 10 pounds. If I could isolate and lose some weight, I might try it. But I'm kidding. I've really seen him kind of wither away. It's sad. So looking for a solution, she asked the facility if any volunteer positions were available. Weeks later, the facility called and offered her a job as a dishwasher. She said, "I told them I'm going to be the best dishwasher you've ever had because I want to be here, because I need to be with him," she recalled to CNN. Pretty cool story. It really is a dangerous thing, this isolation. You know it. There's a group that she's launched called Caregivers for Compromise, because isolation kills too. So get on Facebook and check that out. It's pretty cool. She's trying to build a coalition of families to press Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to allow safe visitation at care facilities. We can't give up. We can't. We just absolutely can't. We have to fight for them until our last breath or their last breath. So, Mary, we here at Hometown Heartbeat, we salute you. And I just really think that's, love is a powerful thing. You know what? So is isolation. So is physical contact. We all, we're social creatures. We're social beings. And these guys might wish they could isolate till about 8 a.m. But nonetheless, here we are being social right now. So hats off to you, Mary. In the coronavirus theme, by the way, if you have, I saw a really good story yesterday about how a coronavirus, it was a coronavirus privilege kind of an episode. Pay attention here. Essentially, there are a lot of people who don't have the money or finances to to allow themselves to continue educating their students from home, right? It's a single mom, for instance, that has to have a job to pay her family, that has 2 kids, that cannot stay home from work and keep raising her kids. And I think that those people a lot of times are being left out of the conversation when we're talking about reopening schools, because the impact of that is going to be incredibly detrimental. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
It's one of those. Thank you, Dallas. Dallas is my trusty sidekick. Dallas, you get off that wireless devil. Get off that wireless devil and focus in here. Focus in. Dr. Scott Atlas, Hoover Institution Senior Fellow and former Chief of That's a lot of words. Neuroradiology. Neuroradiology.
You did well with it.
That's
the first
7
time.
syllables.
Yeah.
Don't put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. See what I did there? Anyways, so he joined Glenn Beck on his radio program yesterday, and tried to cut through some of the politics and the confusion, because what's happened is this whole coronavirus thing has become straight politics. So he came in and gave some facts about the so-called second wave of the pandemic. I think everything should be done by looking at the data instead of models. Follow the science, and we've been saying that from day one, right? And even just allowing fear to go into the exchange. We can't even allow fear into our intellectual exchange. So if we look at the data, we see there's no question COVID-19 cases are increasing in many states, and that's to be expected for a few reasons. Of course, when we test more, we're going to detect more cases. And when they have thousands and thousands of people in the street protesting and screaming and sharing megaphones, that's not true, sir. Only Republican rallies share coronavirus, not protests. Did you not know that? But anyway, so he basically comes through here and talks about some of the failures. Here's one. Frankly, one of the most egregious failures of the policy people is not allowing fear to infiltrate their own thinking and do lockdowns, which are severely harmful, he emphasized. But secondly, they have failed to reassure the public about the facts and about the relative risk here. It's a very serious, dangerous disease for a group of people, and we know who those people are. They are high-risk, elderly people with comorbidities. Everyone else, it's not a high-risk disease. When asked about whether or not schools should be reopened, this is a slam dunk issue, he answered. There is zero science to back up the claims the schools should be closed or even opened with any constraints whatsoever. And there's a video here where you can watch the rest of his interview, but I'd like to hear what you have to say on that. 1-866-494-WVNN. Do you have kids that you had to stay home and educate from home virtually? How did that go? What are your thoughts? Connor is very vocal on his disdain for online distance learning because he feels like it's not. Go ahead. You articulate why you don't like it, Connor. Don't let me speak for you.
Personally, I do not find it as engaging or as conducive to having a complex understanding of things. It seems like it's very prone to getting a very surface level. It's hard to really get that deeper understanding and connection when everything you're learning is just coming from like a Word document.
Yeah, well, and another thing that you mentioned earlier in our conversation was that the concept that if you just completed your work, you were to get passing grade. Like it lowered the expectations of students, which anytime you lower expectations, you're going to get. I mean, not from you, Connor. You're an exceptional student, but from me, I can speak for me. I don't know about you, Dallas, but I was never good at being a student. I didn't enjoy it. I'm incredibly smart, and I could have. I mean, I got a 27 on my ACT. I mean, and I woke up. I didn't even know I had the test, and I woke up and just went. And my mom was like, "Hey, you have the ACT in 15 minutes." And I'd overslept, and I'd been out late the night before, and I'd forgotten that maybe I shouldn't do the things that I did the night before. And I went and guess. So intelligence is something I have, but being a student takes more than intelligence. It takes discipline. It takes commitment. It takes all those things. And so Connor, for instance, is a very good student and gets good grades and is incredible. He just said something that I thought was very unique. Complex understanding. That's what he desires from the learning experience. I wanted to pass. Like, I wanted to get good enough grades I could keep playing baseball, and I gave as little effort as humanly possible to do that. If I was put in the distance learning situation they're now putting kids in, I would have learned nothing. Nothing, because expectations have been dropped to the point where if you, it's becoming trophies for participation. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. That's pretty much what it is. And some people who want that, who are just in school to pass, they thrive in that kind of environment where it's just all about submitting the next assignment, doing the next paper.
Yeah. That's my kind of world. That's what I'm talking about right there. And kids all over the world are saying, yeah, they're not up right now. But yeah, I have two of the most unique 17 and 18-year-old men in the world here that they would get up and come to the studio at 5 a.m. every day and do what they do. And I'm thankful for that. But, yeah, no, it's definitely something that is interesting.
I want to jump in on this.
Jump.
I don't think kids obviously aren't going to work as hard from home. I mean, I've seen it with my brother. He started homeschooling before coronavirus even started, and you're just not going to work as hard, and you're not going to get the same effort out of kids. Kids will cheat on their assignments.
I don't work as hard from home, not even in school.
And I wouldn't either. And it's not the same. Like Calhoun, I'm going to Calhoun, and I was taking anatomy, and we were supposed to do all types of labs. You miss out on stuff like that, hands-on activities and stuff. It's not the same level of engagement, and I think Connor said that too.
He did, and so if you have something to add to this conversation or any conversation we've had this morning, we need to hear from you. I've been talking a lot this morning. I need to talk to somebody. Somebody call me right now. 1-866-494-WVNN. Stack the phones up. Let's have a phone segment. Let's talk to the smartest audience in radio. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN, thehometownheartbeat.com. We'll be right back. back to Hometown Heartbeat. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, joining you with 39 minutes and 21 seconds until the polls open up for the Alabama runoff between Senator? Good Lord. Swampy Sessions and the old ball coach, Tommy Tuberville. We've tried to have Mr. Tuberville on this show a few times. He's been very busy, very, very busy. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on. Win, lose, or draw, we'll get him on the show and talk to him because he's a really nice fella and is super gracious, and I've always wanted to ask him more questions, follow up from our first interview about Jason Campbell and being undefeated and having the national championship taken from you, even though I am an Alabama fan. Roll Tide. Speaking of Alabama, are we going to have football this year? Of course we are. Anyone that says anything else is crazy. If you knew how much money was wrapped up in these seasons, essentially this is what will happen. If football is not played, there may never be women's sports in college ever again. Because, and that's the truth, there may never be baseball ever again. There may never be, there's a lot of sports. Football carries the majority of the budget at every school across the country. Baseball, typically, basketball, if you are a big school and you have a Kentucky or a Louisville or a UNC or whatever, basketball can also carry some water, but really it's football. By hundreds of millions, it's football. So the fact that the Ivy League cancels, no one cares. It's the Ivy League. They don't make any money. No one in SEC land saying, well, wait a minute, Brown and Cornell, they're not playing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, the only thing that's making me nervous is these other conferences canceling their out-of-conference games. It's like they're just trying to restrict travel as much as they can.
I think it'll be a very different season.
Yeah, it'll be different.
It's definitely, I could see, which would be really cool, if they played all within their own conference. You would really see the SEC churn through. A two-loss SEC team is going to still be the best team in the country. So it could be really neat. It could also be terrible. It really just depends on how you look at things. So I do believe there'll be football. I have a hard time believing that with the amount of money that is on the freaking line here, they're going to play.
Yeah, and I've seen suggestions to where you play your conference schedule and then your other games, like Bama's not going to play USC first game. It's not going to happen.
No, that's already been called off, which is fine. USC should be thankful for that.
Yeah, they avoided one there, but
I've seen people they was going to take a whooping.
Yeah, and I've seen people suggest that Bama will play another in-state team. I don't really think that there's a big upside to Bama on that, other than you get to get on the field and play. I'd be excited to see it, put Bama up against a Troy or a UAB.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Anything to bring football back. I don't want to have wasted weeks where there's
Dallas
just nothing for Bama.
I'd like to see Alabama play Hoover High School.
I don't care who they play. Just get them on the field, honestly.
Connor is a big football aficionado. Isn't that right, Connor?
Not exactly.
Okay, Connor, have you heard about the new Ford Bronco?
Yes, actually, I have.
Did you see the reveal last night?
I did not see the reveal, but I've seen pictures of it online.
They came out with a 4-door option, and let me tell you something. You boys thinking about the old one, it's $100 to reserve one online, and then you can decide, later if you want to actually go through with it or whatever, and only lose $100. Mm-hmm. I've been strongly considering because that Joker makes a Jeep Wrangler look like the sorority girl mobile is what it looks like. It is a bad dude. Here's some funny part. I bet you didn't know this, Connor. I didn't know this until Dallas told me this, and when he told me this, I was like, yeah, that's not real, Dallas. Fake news. #fake news. Drain the swamp. Build the wall. And so. When he said this, I was like, man, there's no way. Ford Bronco. Oh, no, let me back up. Let me just read the first line of this. Facing controversy, Ford Motor Company has moved the global debut of the all-new Ford Bronco from July 9th to July 13th, so it would not coincide with the birthday of O.J. Simpson, whose police chase after killing his ex-wife infamously occurred in a white Bronco. How does that make you feel, Connor?
Fantastic. That's such a great reason. I love that.
Oh, man, listen to this. The Friday announcement came in a tweet from Mark Truby, Vice President of Communications, saying the previous date was July 9th, unintentionally coincided with O.J. Simpson's birthday. We wanted to be sensitive and respectful of this concern. Well, let me tell you something, Snowflake. You were certainly sensitive. As late as 9:30 p.m. on Thursday, the company had declined to comment on concerns among union workers and domestic violence advocates that spotlighting the earlier date would bring unwanted attention to O.J. Simpson, the former football. Yes, because he needs help drawing attention to himself. That guy's a circus clown. Anyways, I just thought that was pretty funny that we can't even release a Bronco on O.J.'s birthday. It's like, if that's the new standard by which companies are going to be held, commerce is going to die. Like, this is that's unbelievable. But it is indeed funny, and the Bronco does look bad to the bone. And so we are super excited about seeing one of those running around. You want to get one, Dallas? You think you're a Bronco guy?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to buy me one, I'd gladly accept it and just get me and producer Connor hooked up over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, let's find a Ford dealership to sponsor the show. We'll see what we can come up with.
Okay.
We'll
work on that.
The blue oval, you know what I'm saying? It is. I mean, I'd be happy to trade in my GMC and my Chevy in a heartbeat.
I'll trade in mine.
I bet you would. So. The Hoopty Mobile. I'm just kidding. It's not a Hoopty. It's not a Hoopty. You drive a nice car. You drive it really fast and get tickets. By the way, how'd that work out?
I'm supposed to go to court on the 27th, but
are you going to go or are you just going to pay it? Defensive driving.
Well, I've been to the driving school
my
before.
gosh.
It has been almost 2 years, though. And that's
how many tickets do you are an irresponsible young man.
This is only my second ticket.
You are irresponsible.
It's been so I'm 18, so I've had my license 2 years, 2 tickets.
Well, that's 2 more than I had. But I bet Connor doesn't have any tickets, do you, Connor?
Zilch.
How does that make you feel, Dallas?
I'm all right with that.
Okay. Chance the Rapper.
Yep. Saved SoundCloud.
He saved SoundCloud. Chance the Rapper is he's a genius businessman. He refused to sell out to labels. He created his own thing. He owns his masters. I mean, all kinds of business stuff we could talk about for hours and hours and hours that are truly impressive. I don't like his music. I don't like rap music. But he has now come out. Say No to Joe. And he endorses the birthday party and Kanye West. He said, when Kanye gets elected, it'll be my birthday. This is a surprising move, but I think it's a great move. When we come back from break, we'll talk a little bit about what I think is going on here and why I think it's happening. But I think Chance the Rapper has fallen into a trap here a little bit.
He's previously had, like, I'll have to find some tweets. Just, give me time over the break.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the trap was set by Kanye. I think people are falling into it, and I love what I'm seeing. It's fantastic. But we want to hear from you, 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN. Go to thehometownheartbeat.com, click Watch Live, Listen Live, or subscribe to the podcast and get access to this show every day without commercials, archived by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning by producer Connor. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hometown Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, and we are going to talk to you this segment. Call us at 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. Again, 1-866-494-WVNN or 678 on radio. We want to hear from you. Well, before we left, we were talking about Chance the Rapper. We were talking about how he came out and said, "Say no to Joe." All in on Kanye and the birthday party. I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud. That sounds just curious, as it comes through your radio speakers, does it sound as dumb as it sounds in my headphones? Because it feels awful dumb. But it is the situation we find ourselves in, and we will, I guess, deal with it. So what do I think is happening? Let me tell you what I think is happening. I think that even some on the left, some of the educated, more intelligent people on the left they know how big this election is. They know how dangerous. Now, let me say this very clearly. Democrats in their original form. If you go back and look at, I guess, prior to Bush and 9/11, kind of back before then, I mean, yeah, were we becoming so separated that there was some animosity and things? Well, sure, there's always been animosity in politics, but it was never the level of hatred that it is now. And so here's my 2 cents on it. Kanye is not out on Trump. I don't believe. He might not like some of the things he says or does because, after all, none of us like everything he says or does. He's a buffoon in a lot of ways. But by doing what he's done, and now by Chance the Rapper coming out and confirming what he's done, they're going to pull some votes. They're going to pull I would say they might pull a decent number of votes. And if you see this trend continue with black celebrities stepping out and saying Kanye and the birthday party 2020, that's the best thing that could happen for us as the Republican conservative, constitutionally conservative right.
And I think you'll see a lot more of that. The Democrats don't want another old white guy in office, I don't think. And I feel like Kanye's a nice alternative to that.
No, there's a guy out of, I think it's Colgate University, that does a presidential study, and he's gotten it right. Like, out of 108 elections, he's gotten like 104 of them right. His model has predicted accurately 104. It accurately predicted Donald Trump winning against Hillary, which nobody predicted. And so his metrics center a lot around enthusiasm. And voter enthusiasm is one of the biggest things. Right now, people are enthusiastic for George Floyd, and they might be very enthusiastic about anti-Trump, but they're not enthusiastic about Joe Biden. And that is going to play in, I believe. I believe it'll play a huge role in this election. It's hard to get excited about Sleepy Joe.
There's nothing exciting about Joe Biden. I mean,
especially if you're a woman. Oh, easy.
Oh, or a child. But yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. I mean, anytime he says anything, he just doesn't sound intelligent. Like, if you sit there and you watch an interview, there's always at least one gaffe where he just says something, he's losing his mind. I don't know. There's no excitement. Nobody's excited for Joe Biden.
No, and there's an article out today it's been out for a little while, but it's Dr. Ron Paul's urgent message. Dr. Ron Paul, the former U.S. presidential candidate and 22-year congressional veteran, is back in the spotlight, stepping forward with a new message every American, especially those who are retired or nearing retirement, needs to see. After so many years in Washington, I thought I was immune to being shocked by what our government does, but the actions of our elected officials, the Fed, even the medical community have taken in the past few weeks have gone beyond anything I could have ever imagined. If you're not careful, you could pay the price. He's not wrong. Most Americans will be blindsided by what's going to happen. Make sure you, your family, anyone you know about are prepared. And basically, the entire sentiment, now it comes from an economic perspective, which won't speak to a lot of people, but because economic policy is not very sexy or exciting unless if you wake up and drive a truck or punch a clock or work in one of the plants or whatever, like, economics maybe look different to you than they do a business owner or someone in it, and not bad, not good, nothing. It's different. For me, I mean, I'm a small business owner, so economic policy shapes my ability to feed my family and earn a living and build a successful business. Economic policy shapes the way that the radio is done. It shapes the way that a lot of these free market systems are done. And so essentially, I've said it before, I'll say it again. We are facing the most critical election season that we've ever had in this country, and I think we are absolutely on the razor's edge in terms of where we're going. So it is the most important election season, in my opinion, that we've seen in a long time. On line 2, let's go to Sparky. Sparky, bring it in here. What you got for me?
Hey, I'm standing in line at the southernmost South Harvest polling place, and normally there's about 10 or 15 people in line by now, but I'm it. Well, here comes another fellow, so there'll be 2 of us.
Well, it's still early, though. It's still early. Are there a bunch of masks?
I got one hanging from my ear in case in case some Karen shows up and starts bellowing at me. We got to put it on to go inside the polling place, of course.
No, you don't.
This one says I do.
Oh, that's illegal. I would like. Okay, so I've got a memo right here from the Secretary General of Alabama that says requiring masks to vote is an infringement upon the ability to vote. That there are no mask restrictions that can legally be doled out today. So that's very interesting to hear that.
That's real?
Yeah, that's absolutely real.
Wow.
Yeah, it's making voting more difficult. They cannot make voting more difficult. Voting should be a free right for anyone. What if you can't afford a mask? You can't vote?
It's okay. I admire these ladies in here. I'm not going to do anything to.
No, sure. No. And look,
vote,
it's not the polling place's decision. Probably it's there's some level of something. I guess in theory. Thanks for the call, Sparky. In theory, I guess what the concept would be requiring a mask would inherently restrict those who might vote, thus persuading the election in a certain way. So, but I'm glad to hear from the polls. Glad there are people there. Not many, but people are there. Get out and vote today, folks. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat on WVNN. Hometown Heartbeat, WVNN, thehometownheartbeat.com. I am Zach Walker. We'll be right back. Hometown Heartbeat. I'm your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, and we are going full send here in the last segment of the show. Producer Connor and DJ Dizzy Dallas on the ones and twos over here spinning those hits. When we concluded our last segment, we were talking to Sparky. Sparky was standing in line at the polls and was informed us that masks were, I thought he said, being required to enter the polling place. I just want to be very clear. Go ahead.
I think maybe the polling place, like, before, like, today, like, not voting-wise, but maybe, like, just in general, they had a mask thing going. Maybe they
right,
still
so
had to
here's
sign
the
up
risk
in
of that, right? Like, Alabama elections chief and secretary of state, okay? This is on every major news outlet there is. This is as real as it gets. There's nothing fake about this. They cannot require voters to wear masks at polling places. While it can be strongly recommended that an individual wear a mask, it cannot be required. Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill said he told county officials. In our state, we will continue to see that the right for every eligible Alabamian to vote is protected, and that's important. And so as you go out to vote today, you will not be turned away. If you are, you need to pick up the phone and call somebody. Call me. Or just pull up the Secretary of State's. I mean, there's a memo that he put out. I mean, on letterhead. Print the joker off. Now, listen. Am I saying you should fight the masks? No, absolutely not. If you want to wear one, wear one. If you want to not wear one, don't wear one. It's up to you. It's your right as a citizen to do what it is that you want, especially if you live in a place where they are not mandated. So, Why am I harping on this? Because any infringement upon the liberty within which we, within the system here that we operate in, to me is egregious. And my fear is this: if you are if you don't, what if you can't afford a mask? What if you don't have a mask? What if you can't find masks? Are they going to provide them for you? So in theory, yesterday I went to the pharmacy and I walked in the door and they said, "Hey man, you got to have a mask." And I was like, and I thought about going to another pharmacy, but it was close to my house and I was ready to go. And so I walked back out and I got my non-protective face covering, which is doing absolutely nothing for anybody, just for the record. I put it on. I walked back in the store because whatever, it's fine. I'm a business owner. If I want to restrict who comes in and out of my business, I want that right. Therefore, I respect everyone else's right to do the exact same thing because I'm consistent. I know that's a crazy hard task for people to understand or thought to understand, but if you can't afford a mask and you're not allowed to vote, we've gotten so much pushback on voter registration, voter ID. Like, just being able to prove that you're a citizen, just being able to prove that you should legally have the right to vote is so racist and whatever else, discriminatory, that we can't get that through the government. But a mask that is no less discriminant. Now, again, don't hear me saying, fight the mask, fight the mask, fight the mask. That's not what I'm saying. If you want to wear a mask, wear a freaking mask. It's up to you. That's your choice. That's kind of what liberty is all about. Your right to make decisions about your life based on the fact that you're an American. Like, that's what it's all about. But do not be turned away from the polls because you do not have a mask. That is illegal. That will not stand, and you should absolutely fight that battle to get your vote in. I think that's just me. All right, so last story, and I want to end on a positive note. Do we all remember the district attorney who charged the officers in the Rayshard Brooks death in Atlanta? Everybody remember that gentleman there that just came out and gave us our first case of policing while white? Everybody remember that? Anybody? Bueller? Okay, good. An ongoing criminal investigation into Fulton County DA Paul Howard, the same prosecutor who charged the officers responsible for the death of Rayshard Brooks, recently widened and now includes his actions involving the Brooks case. Georgia Bureau of Investigations Director Vic Reynolds confirmed to Law.com last week that the criminal investigation into Howard now includes grand jury subpoenas he issued in the Brooks case, despite the fact that a grand jury had not been impaneled since March 13th due to the coronavirus. So essentially, this guy circumvented COVID-19 restrictions to issue a grand jury in hopes that they could convene basically this guy is now being like he's already being looked at, okay? He's already being looked at for a ton of things. For instance, a, quote, mysterious salary supplement. What is that? What does that even mean? A mysterious salary supplement. As well as payments made to a nonprofit organization ran by Howard that he used to also supplement his salary. So let me break this down for you super plain English. He's a freaking thief. Okay? He's taking money from the citizens of the state, county, whatever, that he has been elected to serve. So I hope this guy goes down in a blaze of glory. I mean, it doesn't get worse than men like this. Men that rob and I can't stand a thief, first of all. But what he did was so wrong, so blatantly, obviously wrong and racist that even the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, came out and said, well, we don't really know if we need to charge that officer yet, because the process hasn't taken place. We've been asked to do an investigation, and we've not been allowed to do that. And so to see this guy going down for prosecutorial misconduct would be, I don't know, that would be a cherry on top. I don't want to see anybody go through rough patches, but sometimes if you play dumb games, you get dumb prizes. And it sounds like my man here is well on his way to some dumb prizes. And so for what it's worth, we, again, don't want to see anybody go through hardship. But justice must be served. After all, we are a land of laws. The rule of law matters here in this country, this great country that we get to call home. The rule of law is one of the most important things that we enjoy as freedom, as security, as all of those things. And so it is with that we end another fantastic day of Hometown Heartbeat here on WVNN. Listen, go to thehometownheartbeat.com. At the top, you'll see podcast. Click on that right there. Go and subscribe to our podcast. You'll get every segment of this show archived on a daily basis, for free, no commercials. You can listen to us every single day. And after all, why wouldn't you? It's the smartest show on radio. I am your big, beautiful, bearded host, Zach Walker, and we will see you guys in the morning. Thank you, Producer Connor. Thank you, DJ Dallas.